What is up, y'all? So it's been a minute since I've been on the podcast, and I'm excited to be back. And I'm even more excited to come back and to share my personal story and my testimony on my spiritual and my healing journey, which for me personally, I feel collaborates into one. I'll also be sharing a little bit of my travel journey in this podcast series, if it so happens to be one. So stay tuned for more podcasts. All right, so I'm just gonna get into it, okay? I wrote some questions down, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. And then I also have this position where I have to like keep looking at the camera. I'm so used to looking at the screen, but we gonna make it work, all right? Also, if y'all are tapping in, I just want to let y'all know I'm actually recording in a chapel right now. I'm on my In Good Faith travel journey, and I actually slept in this chapel last night. They allowed me to sleep in the chapel because I don't have a shelter to be in right now, but obviously I do being here. And so, for anybody out there who's making any excuses or has any hidden fears or doubts in regards to doing something that you really love, something that you're passionate about, something that you know Mother God, your spiritual team, your ancestors, your inner child is calling you to do, we're always going to wait for the right time, the right moment, the right equipment, the right setting to do so. Just use what you have, and I promise you it'll work out. Um, it'll work out. And when you get to the top and when you blow up, you're going to be appreciative that you shared your process and your journey, because you're going to document and you're going to see your growth. Going back and encouraging myself to listen to my previous podcast, I'm so proud of myself. Um, and that will just start off on the healing journey and the spiritual journey. I'm so proud of myself for sharing my stories, for using my voice. Anybody who knows me knows, or used to know me knows, that I used to be quiet, I used to be shy, I used to be very reserved into myself, and I still kind of am, just depending on the vibe and the environment. But here we are doing what we do. So make sure you follow your dreams, do what you love to do what you want to do. It's going to be a process. Sometimes you're going to pause it, put it to the wayside, but when you know it's something that is being amplified in your heart, always pick it back up and keep it going again. Whew. All right, let's go. So I'm sharing about my spiritual and my healing journey. And the first question I wrote down here was, when did all of this start? So my spiritual journey, um, in my human awareness, started in the year 2020, which was the year of the pandemic, which was the year when a lot of people started their spiritual journey. I say in my human awareness because I feel like I've been going through, now that I'm aware, I feel like I've been going through spiritual journey throughout my whole life. And I'll dig more into that, but basically what I mean by that is, ever since a child, I knew things, I felt things, I heard things, but I never really addressed it, acknowledged it, or shared it, because normally these things that I know or that I see or I hear, it's very stigmatized, it's very unpopular. People will sweep it off and be like, oh, ignore it, or oh, you're hearing things or seeing things or whatnot. All right. So it started in 2020, when the lid just blew off. I've shared, if anybody has been following my journey, y'all hear me sharing how I got fired in 2020, February of 2020, from what I viewed as my dream job. I was working as a youth programs coordinator at a local houseless transitional program in Vista, California, North County, San Diego. The year I got fired, it was gonna be 2 years since I've been, 2 or 3 years, 2 years since I've been there. And I got fired literally a few days before, and I'm like, it'll be up to me, for something like that to happen. Like, people normally celebrating your anniversary, and you're over here about to celebrate that you got fired. Um, when I got let go, when I got fired, I wasn't happy. I felt really let down. Excuse me, y'all. I felt really let down. I felt really discouraged. I felt like that I was betrayed in a way, because I worked really hard at that job. I set the intention and I worked really hard to climb up the ladder, meaning, go to school and get the certificates and get the training and do the extra training on the side that the jobs offered. Um, I was also working my way up via experience, and I got let go. I tried to fight it. I tried to, talk to the higher ups, etc., etc. And the day that I got let go, I just kept on hearing, like, intuitively in my mind, that when God wants you to move and you don't move, God will make you move. God will make you be so uncomfortable, so unhappy, so just not wanting to do it. God will make you move. And before I got fired, I was actually really burnt out. And that had a lot to do with me personally. And this is where the healing and the healing part comes in, the healing journey comes in. I was very burnt out. I I didn't know too much, or I wasn't practicing too much on boundaries, personal boundaries and boundaries in general with others. I I was working a lot. Not only was I working overtime hours, but I was working double shifts. I was working multiple days. And even when I was off of work, I was still hanging around work for different reasons. And that is not a healthy boundary for yourself, for your health, and just for you to get out of work and go live life and do something else. um, I was always taking on a lot of tasks. When I started the job, I wasn't only the security and the residential attendant, meaning I was helping the clients, the people who were houseless, with different things like medication, assisting them with anything shelter wise. But I was also working my way up with the youth programs. So I was doing three different positions, three different occupations or titles, which felt like 1,000 really, because it all ties in together in different departments. And yeah, I was just burnt out. I was so tired. And when I got fired and I got let go, I felt like it could have been preventable because one, I could have communicated a little bit more appropriately to my higher ups, my direct management, and two, I could have expressed how I truly felt. But I just wasn't confident in that time to express myself. I was still learning how to utilize my voice, how to amplify my voice, and how to share my voice confidently. And I just don't really like putting people in weird positions or having to tell people, like, hey, you hurt me or you did this to me. And through my healing journey, I've been learning that if you are somebody who prevents confrontation or doesn't like confrontation, that's actually a fear within yourself of people pleasing, or a fear within yourself that you're okay, that choice that you're okay with what people do to you, especially if it's not healthy, all because you're afraid of causing conflict. So, what is going on inside of you that you're afraid to acknowledge inside of you, that you're afraid to admit that, like, oh, I don't want this person to not like me, or I don't want this person to judge me, or I don't want this person, to think of me otherwise? Well, it's healthy for us to communicate how we truly feel, no matter who it is, to our parents, to our coworkers, to our community, to our friends, to our lovers. It's important for us to communicate how we feel, and what's going on inside of us, because when we hold it in, something like that happens, to where maybe things could have been prevented or could have been altered, um, but it didn't. And it all worked out for my greatest good. And now I'm happy. But back then, I wasn't happy at all. So after I lost the job, the pandemic happened, and a lot of places started shutting down, and a lot of jobs had to fire people, or people quit because they were afraid to be working outside. And I ended up, I was sad for a month, and I was soaking and depressed and blah 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 blah. And I had some savings on me, and I utilized my pay that I had to hold me over. But then the funds were running out, and I had to do something. I had to work. And not only that, it wasn't only about the money, but I saw a lot of the jobs that I love to do, like the community service jobs, like the homeless shelters, or like the daycares, or like the schools, or like the nonprofit organizations and stuff dealing with the community. I saw a lot of them were struggling. A lot of them needed help. There's a lot of parents who were really going through a hard time because they needed daycare for the kids so that they can get to work. But the daycare was really strict with how many kids can be there, and you know, if they're sick, or it was just very strict, which is understandable in a time of the pandemic and during some things such as that, as an illness that was spreading around. So that was around the pandemic time that just blew the whole lid off. Everything was shifting and changing. And that's when everything started. 4 years later, it's 2024. And February would actually be my anniversary of 4 years of going on this spiritual journey as of the 2020 version. Because, like I said, now that I'm aware and I know the language and I know I have the awareness, and I'm utilizing my knowledge and wisdom within myself to teach myself, and also getting into community with others who are experiencing the same thing. Um, 2020 was that year; it just blew off. And so, moving to the next question here, how has this journey impacted my life? Um, this journey just flipped the lid on everything. Going through my spiritual journey, when I started going through my spiritual journey, I met one of who I consider my mentors, my teachers. I feel like I'm getting emotional because it's been such a journey, and even we had our own personal journey where I was in and out and out and in and there and not there, and I accept myself for that and I acknowledge myself for that, and it's all okay. But I'm here with this mentor, and I'm just locked in with her as much as I can, as best as I can, as I still grow and I still learn, and I still learn balance and collaborate myself with all of this. But she taught me so much, and she clarified so much that the universe just brought this information and this awareness in my life throughout my life since childhood. But like I said again, this is information that just came to me and that I consumed to some capacity, but I always doubted, or I always feared or denied it due to that stigma, due to those unpopular belief systems, especially religion. um, and then also just my personal fears and doubts of, like, well, what is this? Is this really real? Is this really love? Is this really Christ? Is this really true, you know? But she taught me a lot. It impacted my life. I started, I cut off a lot of people. I cut off a lot of family members. I started distancing myself from family members. It was really nothing personal. It was really spiritual, and it was really personal. um, and side note, if anybody in your life makes fun of you or judges you or tries to be negative towards you because you pull your energy away, you pull your time away, you pull your attention away for personal, private reasons that are healthy for you, like, they're not the people to be in your life or to be around you, especially if they make fun of you, like, oh, what, you can't hang out with us no more, you're too good for us, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not your people, regardless if it's family, a loved one, a lover, a coworker, childhood best friend, etc. So I started distancing myself from a lot of people, a lot of family members, a lot of friends, just a lot of environments that just didn't resonate with me anymore. And I didn't even have to fight it. It just, there was just this feeling over me where I was just like, yeah, no, I'm good, you know? And again, it wasn't anything personal, it was spiritual, and it was personal for me, but not personal towards anybody else. um, Things started changing. I started utilizing my voice. I started going on my healing journey. I started talking about my childhood traumas, the child molestation I experienced, the incest I experienced, how long that happened. I started the podcast, which also was in 2020. And I just started becoming aware of, like, my health and wellness, my mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. It was a journey, it was a process, it was very rocky, but I'm very proud of myself, and I won't ever judge anymore. And it's something that I'm still growing in, and that's okay. But I wouldn't judge myself today how I used to judge myself before 2020 and in the past, because I would always pressure myself. I would always push myself to do better, to be perfect. Um, I wouldn't celebrate the, the good days and even the bad days. I wouldn't acknowledge how far I come, and that's okay because they don't teach us that. But here we are now doing it. And it was tough. It was rough because my whole identity, my whole reality, my whole everything I knew just kind of went out the window, and I just started questioning so many things. I just started questioning so many people, and I'm just gonna slow it down so we can break it up. Because it's been 4 years, so I got 4 years of experiences I want to share with y'all, but I just want to start to in the beginning. Um, of when I started. Excuse me. So it was good. Like all of a sudden, I just had this overwhelming feeling in like a healthy and light, positive way where it was like I was like, okay, I need to go out and help the community. I need to do something, volunteer or work, whatever the case is. And normally, when I was living in California, there's so many jobs in California, and my resume is full of experiences. So I get a job like that, like that, like that, like that. And when I was applying back then in 2020, I wasn't getting no job. I wasn't getting no callbacks. People weren't following up. And I just had this like, I wanted to say lazy, but it was just this energy. And I know that it was God and my ancestors just giving me this energy of not being interested in getting a job and actually focusing on my creative expression and my creative art, which was me coming on TikTok, utilizing TikTok as a platform, and advocating for mental health, or sharing my testimony, sharing my traumas, sharing how what I experienced and how I overcame that. Coming on, doing encouragement videos, silly videos, doing series again with mental health. Right now, I feel my heart, and then I also feel my throat. Like, ooh, even as I said that, my throat. And you guys are going to learn about all of this along my journey. I'm going to teach you and I'm going to share with you because I'm in a moment right now where it's been some time, and Mother God and my ancestors, my team, my highest self is calling me to now teach with what I know. So I'm just going to take a quick breath because I've been talking for a second, and I try to remind myself to slow down. I get very excited, and I'm such a talker. I'm full of information. I just want to get it all out. But I'm working to remind myself and teach myself how to slow down, take control of the pace. Not take control of it, but just let it flow. Be aware when you're going too fast and acknowledge when, but I just feel this like in my chest and in my throat, and it's just like coming out, coming out. And for me personally, as a healer and somebody that's healing, this is our throat chakra. This is our. I'm gonna leave this on record because this is like evidence. This is all supposed to happen for y'all to see like what I do, and also for me to like go through the process. But this is our heart chakra. Our chakras are energy centers in our body that flow like the river and help move specific energies through our body. And I'm still learning and growing, so I'm just gonna express it in my own and I'm gonna take my time with it too, because I don't want to force anything or push anything or pressure anything. Hmm. Get it out, baby. Uh, you guys are gonna see me doing movements and stuff like that too. I just like to do this personally to assist the energy. The energy will energy and flow on its own. Do you guys hear that? It's like a wheeze. It's like this thing here that just wants to come out, like get out. It's like a thing, like a space. But I don't want to force it. It'll come out in its own time. I don't want to push too hard. My heart is hardening right now. It feels cold. It's like tingly. just gonna take a few breaths so I can calm myself and you guys can follow along as well. I'm normally doing the 444 breathing method, which was taught to me by one of my other mentors, where you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale for 4 seconds. So, I normally like to make noise because it helps, like, physically helps me move the energy physically, if that makes sense. I can feel my breath going out, and that helps me. That stimulates and helps calm the energy centers, etc. I had a goal for this to be like 30 minutes, but we'll see where it goes because I don't want to put a time on the storyline. I always. Yeah, confirmation. I always, um, when I invite people in, and I have my eyes closed, y'all, sometimes, like, I might just straight up start channeling, right. Hold on, because I'm gonna empty this and I'm gonna need to spit. I'll get off the camera to spit because ew. And it's okay because it's human. Confirmation, my nose is itchy, but this needs to get out. Side note, ladies, how do you drink without messing up your lipstick? I know it's not possible. It's gonna eventually disappear, but I'm joking with myself because a part of my spiritual journey and my healing journey has been to heal the divine feminine in me, and it's just wow. I'm flabbergasted. I would like to invite the LGBTQ community to come on the pod to speak about this. Being LGBTQIA plus, and going on a healing journey and a spiritual journey, what that looks like. Because, girl, now that I'm healing the feminine, I might say hi to a guy. I don't know. I feel like I'm like still riding with the booty, but I don't know. It's weird, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me just drink a little bit more. And then we'll go 222, baby boo. Okay. 2233, that's a master number. That's also an ascended master. Ascended master energy. Um Angel numbers are I like this. I'm expressing. Angel numbers are like synchronistic numbers that you see, and it's one of the many ways that our angels, our ancestors, our spirit team, our highest self tries to communicate to us, because they can't verbally speak, but they could also speak through people. So pay attention. But they use angel numbers. So if you see 222, 444, 111, those are called synchronistic numbers, with the consistent 111, 222, 333, 444. But there's all kind of, I like use it all, but we'll just keep it simple so we can stay focused. But yeah, angel numbers, it's a communication from your angels. So if you constantly see like 888, 777, 666, 555, definitely Google it. And that was like a reason why I just went 888, 777, 666, 555, like countdown, which I like. So let's check this out real quick. What's going on? Please excuse me, please forgive me. It needs to come out, and spiritual community knows that. Just burp confirmation. I'm also just gonna express what I'm doing, like, along the way. I just feel called to tap my chest lightly. So I think that will help move the energy and shake up the energy. We can even like sweep is what I do, or what I'm teaching myself to do. But I feel called to slightly tap. I'm just gonna tap gently. I'm just gonna tap lightly so that we can be gentle with ourselves. This is all for a reason, y'all, and it's because my voice has been silenced since childhood. Not only was my voice intentionally silenced by other people, my family, my schools, my environments, communities, etc. But eventually, I also taught myself because we believe in self accountability in this village, in this hut. Um, Eventually, I started self silencing myself based off of learned behavior, based off of the examples that were going on around me. So, me sharing my spiritual journey, my healing journey, you guys are seeing physical evidence. I know it's a little weird, physical evidence, but it's human. We all got it. Physical evidence of like this is all energy, like the trauma and the dramas and all the things we experienced since childhood. These energies are stuck in our body. And I just want to give a shout out to my mentors and all the education and awareness they've been teaching me, and all the also shouting out to myself for all the personal stuff I researched and looked up and listened to. But these experiences are stored in our body, it's stored in our cellular structure, in our DNA throughout time. And fun fact that I learned, not only are we carrying our traumas, our personal traumas within ourselves, but a lot of the traumas and the dramas and the behaviors that are not healthy for us that we carry, it's actually ancestral. So when we talk about generational traumas, ancestral traumas, that's what we mean. The traumas and the dramas and the behaviors and the things that the ancestors experienced that wasn't healthy for us, it kept happening in every generation. It kept happening in every generation. It kept happening in every generation because it was normalized. It was normalized to the point where it was like sleeping with family members are not healthy, but everybody's doing it behind closed doors and nobody really wants to talk about not doing it or why that's not healthy. So we're just going to continue to do it. What? But okay, so let's get back on track with how that impacted my life. It started helping me to get closer to God. It started helping me to get closer to myself. It started encouraging me to take care of myself, take care of my body, like I shared with you guys earlier with my job. And that was with life, with relationships, with family, with romantic stuff. I was burnt out. I was burnt out and I was burned down. Um, when I started my spiritual and my healing journey, I barely broke up with a partner of mine for like 4 years. And I always say we were together for 4 years, but it was like we were together for 6 years because we broke up on year 4, and there was still 2 years where we were going back and forth. It was barely once in a blue moon, once in a red moon, maybe a few times a year, and it was only to have sex, or it was only to hang out. But we would always end up arguing, we would always end up fighting and just going back apart. It was very toxic, it wasn't healthy at all. And I'm not blaming her, I'm not blaming myself, it's just what it was. Maybe back then I was like, oh well, blah blah blah, but now it's just like, no, it's the both of you guys, because not only did she do things to me, but I also I don't really didn't really do anything to her in regards to X, Y, and Z, but I allowed her to do those things, and I allowed her to do those things for a really long time. So drawing back to like how the journey impacted my life, it just made me want to do better. It made me want to really dig into myself, who I was, um, who I am, what I'm here to do, the purpose, the journey, my purpose. It just kept amplifying. And I'm so grateful that I got fired from that job, because if I didn't get fired from that job and I didn't go through that rest period and that depression period and that like just lost period, what's next, I would have never have gotten on TikTok. I never would have gotten on social media. And that really impacted my life because I really enjoyed creating. I love creating. I love expressing myself. I love sharing myself, but I was very shy. I was very insecure, low self-esteem, doubt, fears, all those things that everybody has, all humans have it in them. And if anybody says that they don't doubt, they don't fear, they lying to themselves, and that's not none of our business. We're just gonna keep walking, keep it pushing, because we don't have time and energy to try and convince anybody. If they're lying to themselves, that's their personal journey. And that's another thing that I had to learn as well, because I'm such a healer, I'm such a teacher, I'm such an advocate for people. And it's like I be staying around trying to convince them why their life is important to live or etc. And it's like you can't make anybody live life right. And not only that, you're over here trying to teach other people and convince other people how to live while you're abandoning yourself, while you're forgetting about yourself, while you're not putting that same energy into yourself. 3003 on the clock, that's a mirrored number. And also 33 and 00, that's an ascended master number. That's a master number. Thank you. Also saw 69, which is one of my confirmations. But I feel like this is clearing. I feel like my throat's a little scratchy and it's clearing, but it's there. I mostly feel it like I'm feeling my heart like flutter, nervousness, maybe a little anxiety. I don't think, I mean, people say anxiety in your heart, like, it's not like beating super fast. It's just like, but it's more so like it's coming out now, guys. It's coming out. It's coming out. The story, the testimony is coming out. But yeah, that's a little bit of how my spiritual journey impacted my life. And I'm sure I'll unpack that a little bit more in a future episode. But I want to move on to my third and my final question or comment here. So that way we can save a little time. Save a little time. What are we saving time for, Chelsea? I didn't want it to be like an hour type thing. I just want it to be simple. But if it goes to an hour, it's cool. But I don't think so. Anyway, just flow. Just flow. It's all good. I like to plan and coordinate a lot of things, but I'm learning to go with the flow. And that's a major part of how spirituality impacted my life, was learning to go with the flow. I'm very like analytical. I'm very like organized. I'm very organized and wanting to like have everything planned out, and if it doesn't go according to plan, it's like, what's going on? And it's like, no, like now I have a plan and agenda, but I also leave room, and like I'm learning to follow those hunches. Like if the universe and God says like, don't go to that store, go to this store, I'm working to listen to that. Like, don't go out that night, stay in, I'm learning to listen to. Don't go with that person, don't sit with that person, don't let that person touch you. I'm learning to listen, because this is not just physical. The Bible says that we do not fight against flesh and blood, but principalities and energies and demons and etc., in the spirit. And I know everybody has different opinions about the Bible with spirituality, etc. The Social Progress Podcast is a table, it's a space, it's a village where different opinions, experiences, thoughts, and ideas can come together, and we can collaborate it for the best of everybody. We're not always going to agree on a bunch of things, but I would love to hold that space where we can come in, agree, disagree, and still leave the table in a compassionate space where we learn something, and where we also learn how to accept ourselves and other people's thoughts and opinions or ideas or experiences. So to close, good job, Chelsea. I'm so proud of myself. I'm just going to put this on recording, and I'm just going to do this little huggy. Love you, love you, love you. I'm so proud of you. The ancestors have been calling me to get back on the pod. They've been calling me to get back on to sharing my testimony, etc., etc. And it's just been a process, which I'll share with you, because half of it was me, half of it was other shit that was being projected onto me to distract or blah, blah, blah. But it's okay. We'll talk about that in another moment. Right now, we're just going to focus on this last comment, which is, I love you. I appreciate you. And I am proud of you. I'm just going to look at myself. I am proud of you. I'm just like, wow. Like, one of the other ways that this spiritual journey and healing journey has impacted me is teaching me how to love myself. Teach me how to love myself, how to embrace myself, how to accept myself. And I used to be so judgmental. I used to be so hard on myself. And a lot of that was parental projections onto me. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that word. I didn't even know that meaning. And it's okay, because now, gracefully, with God reminding me to be forgiving and to love them anyway, and my amazing mentors, especially there's this one mentor, she's just so cool, and she shares her experiences, and she tells us like, don't send back any of that negative energy, and don't do a return to sender, meaning whatever people try to send to you, give it back to them, like an eye for an eye kind of thing. Take that energy and utilize it to transmute it and make it work for your good. So if somebody tried to bring you down by saying, don't do that podcast, it's not going to work, people are going to judge you or whatever, take that energy and you're going to receive or hear what they said. And you tell yourself, there's people out there who appreciate my podcast. There's people out there who appreciate my testimony. There are people out there who appreciate what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this out and then get the job done and put it out. Damn, I feel like the ancestors are channeling. I'm such a hugger, but I just feel like there's 10 people hugging me right now. Oh, where's my love? I guess we didn't want to bring her out today, but let's go, guys. It's important, okay? So before we go on, it's important. So make sure we're taking time to love ourselves. And as I'm saying this to y'all and being an example to this to y'all, I don't always do this with myself. It's something that I'm learning to practice within myself, but I'm not gonna pressure myself like, oh, I'm not gonna show you guys or teach you guys how to do this just because I don't do it consistently or perfectly. No. It's okay for you to share your experiences and your teaching and your knowledge with others, even though you're still perfecting or practicing it, because life is a practice and it's a lifelong practice. Chelsea Raya, you go, you got it, girl, you got it, girl. Also, if anybody like used to know me, because like everybody who knows me, like, don't be offended or anything, but I say used to know me because I'm not the same person like I was even a year ago, and I'm definitely not the same person that I was in childhood, growing up in my younger 20s, etc., etc. And I know y'all know it because it's like, what is Chelsea doing? Like, we always wanted to dress her up and put makeup and everything, and it's like, now she's doing it. Like, hi, this is what healing the divine feminine and healing your mind, your body, and spirit will do. It changes you internally and externally. Past 4 years, I did a lot of internal work, and I'm still, working through that. But now it's time for that to reflect externally because I've been doing a lot. I get so excited, and I'm just like, when I used to work in a sales job, they used to call me Tasmanian Devil, the cartoon, because it was like, and I was on the phone like, sale, sale. And there was times where I was also shy and quiet, like, oh, can I talk to you about your rental insurance? But eventually, those sales jobs, they definitely helped me. Just want to embrace myself. I guess I could do it while I'm talking. So the last and final note in regards to my spiritual, my healing journey is, what are 3 stigmas about spirituality or healing that I've experienced and come across? And if any of y'all listened to my podcast before, or if you were a guest before, y'all know that a major intention of the Social Progress podcast is to educate social stigmas with our lived experiences. So all the unpopular, all the taboo conversations like child molestation and incest, I've created a village space where we can come together in a safe space and talk about these experiences without any shame, without any guilt, without any fear of being judged. I obviously can't control the comment section or what other people are projecting, but y'all know when you're sitting with me, we Gucci. And I'm pretty confident to say that after y'all sit with me, regardless of what anybody else says outside, we good. So 3 stigmas about spirituality and healing, and there's a bunch, but we're just gonna start with 3. Ooh. Healing. I'll start with myself because again, we appreciate self accountability in this hut, in this village, in this home. I say hut because we indigenous, keeping it indigenous. So for me personally, the healing journey, because there was this unpopular idea to me where my healing journey had to be like straight and narrow or super perfect, or I pressured myself and put myself down when I messed up, when I smoked a cigarette again, when I went and laid bodies with that girl again, when I, went and I overate again. And, of course, it's important for us to hold ourselves accountable and when we know better, do better type stuff. But I'm picking up right now, Jesus is here. Y'all already know, if you know me. This part of me, y'all know where I'm very connected with my emotions. A part of my healing journey, I'm learning that emotions means energy in motion. So allow the energy to motion and flow instead of holding on to it or, super staying with it. I'm a super empath, so I feel a lot, and I just feel a lot. But it's that thing where I've been saying in the church a lot or to other people. It's like a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of people in general, they move away from the church because the church is always preaching like sin, repent. And okay, I get it to an extent because I'm still learning what it all means. Um, but yes, to the repenting or, admitting your mistakes and stuff and your decisions and doing better. Changing that is what we'll say. But ooh, let me bring you closer. What is this? I'm stretching my legs because it's like, we're doing with what we got. But the church is always like, repent. You can't keep sinning over and over again, and Jesus is gonna just keep on forgiving you, etc., etc. I mean, to some extent, I mean that makes like 1% sense. But for me personally, and I say 1% because I want to welcome everybody's opinions. But for me personally, those are the moments where God, for I believe Mother God, and I say Mother God, y'all can question if you want to question, but Mother God or Jesus wants us to come to them because God knows that we're not perfect. God knows that we make mistakes. God knows human nature. And God knows that humans are very behavioral. I'm pretty sure there's a bigger or other word for it, but behavioral people, meaning like we live off of behavior, what we know, unless we switch and change that behavior up. Ooh, I'm getting so excited because I just can't wait to learn more in depth from my peoples. But God knows, and that's the best time God wants us to come. Like if we keep on laying down, in bed with this person or with these people, and we keep telling ourselves like we're not feeling fulfilled, we don't feel good, we don't feel safe in it, but yet we keep doing it. That's the best time that God wants us to come to them. That's the best time that Jesus wants us to come and talk to them because that's the healing, that's the surrendering, that's the repenting, and it's not going to be easy. And like I mentioned earlier, not only are we healing and transmuting and releasing our own traumas, but we're releasing traumas in our body and that we've learned and picked up from our ancestors, from the people before us. And one thing that my abuelita keeps on telling me, my nana keeps on telling me is like, mija, like, are you kidding me? Do you know how many people in our family knew the behaviors we were doing was wrong? How many people in our family knew that sleeping with other people in the family was wrong, but they still continued to do it? They acknowledged that it was wrong and they still continue to do it. And for you to even consider, for you to even attempt or try to make a change, to make a difference, yet be hard on yourself when you fall down, you're going to be hard on yourself? No. No, because you're making the change. You're trying. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're being it. And it's a process. So one of the stigmas, one of those unpopular opinions or those unpopular like things that we all follow is like the healing journey is going to be a straight and narrow, and sometimes we pressure ourselves when we take 3 steps forward in our healing journey just to take 6 steps back. And it's like, I get it. In that moment you're not going to want to hear anybody saying that it's okay, like that's normal, blah blah blah, because we're in our like zone of really wanting to move forward or perfect this thing or practice this thing, as we should say. And I'm just so proud of myself because even as I'm saying this, I can already hear parts of myself where it's like, well, you still kind of pressure yourself, you still kind of you still kind of like try to perfect it. And that's okay for me to hear myself. And I'm thanking myself right now. I thank you for saying that and acknowledging that, because it could be true. But also, a part of me teaching and sharing my journey and my testimony is also being a living example that I'm a work in progress. The Social Progress Podcast, I'm a work in progress. I'm forever progressing. I'm forever practicing. I'm forever growing and learning. And a lot of us, in society, we want to have the perfect podcast room and the perfect microphone and the perfect camera and the perfect lighting and the perfect sound before we ever start the podcast. But like I said earlier, when there's never going to be a right time, so just do it, because we're always going to wait till we have the right thing, until we feel the right way, until we have the right people. But that may not never come. And are we going to allow those things to stop us from actually going? So I'm really proud of myself, because if anybody sees this and you go back to listen to other podcast episodes and you see from the very start, my first episode, the quality on one of my guests is, and it wasn't the greatest, which is okay because we still did it. My sound quality, it was going in and out. It was static, but it's okay because we kept doing it all the way to the end. Youth coach Tay. Um, and I super love her, and I super love that episode and all the other episodes after. You'll see my growth in my speaking, in my confidence, in the way I'm talking, in my flow, in my physical body. I was very chunky back then. I was very like tebwit in my indigenous language, which means like chunky. It means fat girl, or fat. PHAT. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What you doing with me? Okay, focus. So that's number one is pressuring ourselves. And so it's a practice. It's a practice. This is my practice. Okay. um so that's one of the personal, unpopular ideas that I was taught, and that I also held on to within myself, was like pressuring yourself to have the healing journey, or any journey in general, all perfect, all stuck to the plan, all ABC 1, 2, 3, all the way down the line. And if it wasn't perfected, then we're gonna give up, or like we failed. No, thank you. My healing journey was, do you know what I mean? What's that song I'm hearing? Do you know what I mean? Hey, watch it. So going on to number 2 for the stigmas. And yay, see, we're going into an hour, which is cool, because I'm not even going to edit this video. It's going to be super raw. Y'all already know, if y'all were a guest ever or listen to any of my videos, it's super raw, super authentic. It's just out there, okay? So number 2 of the stigma of the spiritual or healing journey. So that we talked about healing, let's talk about spirituality, and let's talk about like outside of me. When I started going on my spiritual journey, my loved ones like super judged me. My loved ones judged me for using tarot. They were saying like, that's evil, that's not God. Whenever they would pray for me, they would amplify, or they would say, well, you accept Jesus into your life, right? And you know that Jesus is Lord and Savior, and you know that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. Like, I'm not too. You don't need to tell me that. My grandmother took us to church and we learned all the da 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 da. And I have my own thoughts in regards to Jesus, because okay, the text said all of that happened, but I think we got it twisted, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But I'm just saying, those men saw who Jesus was, saw what Jesus was doing, and because Jesus didn't want to abide by their rules, because Yahweh didn't want to abide by their rules, because the Most High didn't want to abide by their rules and their regulations, they took him out. Point blank, period. Just like they do a lot of healers, a lot of ascended masters, a lot of spiritual people. That's why I know a lot of people have been so low key for so long. But it's done. 2020, God is like, nah, y'all doing too much. Activate now. Bing, shine your light. And there's too many of us. And who's that? So, my family, they judged me and blah, blah, blah. They persecuted me. Like, My family at a point didn't even want my tarot cards to be in the house. They wanted it in the garage. They didn't want it in the house, and I got it. It's your home. It's your rules. I abided by it, and I didn't even fight it. I agreed with it. Blah blah blah. I suggested for the animal cards to be in there. It's animals. Hey, spooky dooky. But I'm learning now that I'm getting into tarot that a lot of people actually know about tarot, and I think a lot of people are just scared of what the cards will say. Mm, revelation. But moving forward, that was one of the things like with my spiritual journey, and then also like even besides the cards, talking about my inner work. Um, my mom was like, "Who are you listening to?" Like one of my mentors, like there was just something about one of my specific mentors. I always had her on my phone. I always had her on my laptop. Like it was one of my first mentors in my spiritual journey. I was always like, I just always tapped in with her. And my mom was like, "Who are you talking to?" "Oh, that lady's putting things in your head. Like, oh, she's manipulating you or she's controlling you or blah blah blah." And it's like, you didn't even give her a chance. Like, you don't even sit down for more than like 5 minutes to listen to her. Ooh, Chelsea, that's a message for me too because we appreciate personal accountability in this house. I be ADD, ADHD, scrolling, going back and forth into different lives, and I'm just acknowledging myself and what I do. Like, this lady's such a cool lady, and she just puts so much time and energy into things, and I'm just learning to show more appreciation. There's things that, people do that we don't even see and know about, and we're just so blessed. Um, but yeah, she was like, they're influencing you, they're doing this and that. And in the beginning of my healing journey, I didn't really acknowledge or see what my mom was doing or what she was projecting. But now that I've ascended and I've grown, she was projecting her own like anger and her own narcissistic behavior onto somebody else because I wasn't listening to what my mom was saying. I wasn't listening to her opinion. I wasn't accepting her opinion anymore. She was mad about that. She was upset with that because she didn't have control over, you know, hey, don't listen to that person, and I would listen, or hey, don't go there with that people, and I would listen. Hey, don't do that, and I would listen. And now I'm hearing this story, so I'm just gonna bring it up because when things come up, somebody who's gonna see this needs to hear it, or I need to say it out loud. Like even one time, I posted on my socials, and I posted a very like revealing photo of me, and it was a cute ass photo, and like my tatas were showing a little bit, and it was like during the time of the abortion rights and everything. And I didn't really post the whole story about it. I just did it just to do it because we don't need to talk about it to show up for it. But anyway, she called me and she was like flipping out at me, and she was like, you have your fathers on social media, and what are people going to think and say? Take it down right now. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna take it down. I posted it. I'm gonna leave it up. And this was pre me going deep into my healing and deep into drawing boundaries, right? Especially with family members. Especially, it could be your mother, your father, it could be your daughter or your son, guys. It's not nothing negative. It's not nothing personal. It's personal to us. It's not personal to them. But if it's unhealthy, we gotta draw those boundaries. So she told me to take it off, whatever. I said, no, I'm not gonna take it off, blah blah blah. I was talking to her and she's like, okay, whatever. And she hung up the phone with me. She was upset. And then after I called her back, I deleted it. And she's like, okay, thank you. Like she was satisfied with it. So, anyways, going back to the unpopular or the stigma of spirituality and the taboo topics of it is like the people who don't understand it or are afraid of it or are not open minded to dive into it or learn about it, they're going to project that like it's evil. They're going to project that people are influencing you or manipulating you or doing some kind of witchcraft or magic, etc., on you, etc., whatever. And those are all real. But when you learn your protection game and when you learn about spirituality, you learn like the light and the darkness of it, which is what the whole world is, of light and of dark. Even the Bible said at first it was all dark and then came light. So the text says. And I don't say that in any disrespect. I'm just learning and I'm growing. And now that I'm like awakening, I'm just, I'm a brand new student, baby. I'm a brand new student. Okay. So what was the stigma or the unpopular part of the, oh yeah, like people are, it's, my family, like they projected that onto me. And They were saying that what I was doing was evil, or the people that I was listening to were manipulating me. But all this time, they were the ones that were manipulating me. My mother was the one that was manipulating me and controlling me because she didn't want me to shine my light. She didn't want me to be who I was. And I want to be mindful with my energy, my body language, etc., and how I'm expressing this because it's my mother. And I love my mother. She's my one and only mother. I came out of her. My grandmother always says that. Regardless of what it is, that's your mother, that's your father. But it's like, I need to express myself fully. See? I just felt like a stab in my throat. Mm, that was a big one. And I was just about to say, it's not so much about the phlegm, it's more about this energy. It's like an energy ball that's just been brewing up and waiting to come out. But that was some spit there. But she was the one that was manipulating me and controlling me, so I wouldn't shine my light, so I wouldn't shine my true authenticity. And I'm gonna save it there. I'm gonna pause there because the rest is coming. But compassionately and ethically, but also like testimony, you know. Um, but yeah, like they were the ones. They were the ones that were trying to control me. They were the ones that were trying to manipulate me, and that's what a narcissist is called. Is where it's like you call out their behavior and they project. They take the attention or the responsibility, accountability off of them and project onto you. You're the one that's crazy. You're the one that did this. You're the one blah blah blah. And I saw the signs. She just showed me more and more the spirit upon her, that was upon her. I'll go ahead and speak that over my mother's life. The spirit that was upon her, that spirit of envy, that spirit of jealousy, and even though she's still working through this physically, I'm going to speak that into the spirit and speak that over my mother because I heard a car because it's just who I am. But there's a difference now because they can't abuse that and control that anymore. Let me pause and let me move forward because there's one more and it's getting personal, which is okay. Okay? But yeah, we got like 4 more minutes. Let's go. Um, you know, projecting that onto me, controlling that onto me, so that way I won't, use my voice. I won't shine my light. I won't dance like no one's watching. I won't sing like no one's listening. I won't cry and speak my truth confidently and openly. And we'll talk about that in another episode in regards to generational traumas. But now I hear my grandmother and and I also hear one of my mentors, like saying, forgive them because they don't know. But I also just see my grandma's face, like, my grandma, she always channels to me because I'm a channeler, meaning I connect to the heavens and I receive messages from them and I receive it within myself to deliver it to the collective, which is the community, whoever resonates with me, whoever is experiencing the similar things I'm experiencing. And throughout my healing journey, she just always asked me, and I'm still learning to connect and be patient and meditate and listen clearly to them. But I just know my grandma. I know her. And nobody can make me cry. Not many energies can make me express emotion as such. I see her face, and I see her face, and I don't hear her words, but I can feel her words. I can read her words via her face, saying to just be forgiving and just be understanding, because my grandmother taught my mother those things too. How to dim her light, or how to sit up like a good girl, or how to, like, oh, I'm your mother, I birthed you, I gave birth to you, so you listen to me. That's what my mom always says to me, and it fucking annoys the fuck out of me. I mean, it doesn't annoy me anymore because I'm getting stronger to not allow people to control or predict my emotion or my reaction or response. But it doesn't make me feel good. And I don't even want to say the word sick because I want to be conscious of what I'm saying, but it makes me feel like I want to throw up when she says that. Because to me and my inner child, that's abuse of authority of her motherhood, to say, I gave birth to you, so you listen to what I say, when what she's saying is not healthy for me. It's not safe. Doesn't make me feel safe. It's not healthy. It's not good. Oh, fuck. I'm in a chapel doing this right now, and I just literally saw like a figure. Now I see eyes in this podium, and the cross is there. But we good. We safe. That was more of like a dark like a dark. It looked dark. And maybe it is. I'm not afraid of it because we're talking about these traumas where my grandmother's saying forgive her. I taught her that too, and I get it. And in the Pacific Islander culture, or any type of indigenous culture, it's very family oriented. Any type of original culture, it's very family oriented. It's very old school. It's very like to the book and the way it always was type energy. But it's like maybe down the line you guys like slept with each other for years and years and years and years to come, or you guys abused each other in a relationship and that was okay. But I always knew as a child that wasn't okay. And speaking even in regards to child molestation or incest, I knew that I didn't want to do that, and I felt my body naturally doing what bodies do and getting aroused or getting excited in regards to like laying with somebody. But the thing is like the first second I wanted to lay down, but right when they got on top of me, my inner self was just screaming to get off of me internally, but I could never say it like physically. I never said it physically. Even when I was older in my 20s, there was some stuff that happened, and I'll talk more about that. 119 911 backwards 111. It is done. It's time to receive. Open up to receive. Ooh, I did it. But it's generational. And I see my grandmother. I want to have so much compassion for my mom, and I always did. I always do. But I'm just gonna keep praying for her because there's just this energy. It's just that spirit. And I guess the little girl in me is still a little bit hurt, where I want her to take accountability and responsibility, and she's old enough. You're old enough. You're old enough to make a change. But God has been teaching me that we can't judge anybody on their timeline of healing or accepting themselves or admitting themselves. I understand why you're showing me that, but I'm gonna move on from that. I don't want to see their face. I don't want to see their face. I don't want to hear their energy. I don't want. But I understand why you're showing me that. And don't do that. I don't like that. But why here specifically? We can't judge anybody's timeline, and there's a lot of people who, will do things, have done things, and they'll take that to the grave, all because they're so fearful, or egoic, which really all that means is fearful of admitting their errors and mistakes, and just how much things can shift if my mother would acknowledge that. And she's acknowledged it before, but it wasn't genuine. She apologized because she had to, because I started talking out loud. She apologized to say that she apologized. It wasn't a genuine thing, but it's okay. Whew, it's okay. But that's that generational, taboo and popular, projecting, that narcissistic, letting us know that people are manipulating and controlling us. Always use your discernment, which is your gut intuition, which is following your heart, which is using your logical mind to discern, to know deeply and truly what is right for you. Always go to God and always ask Mother God. Always ask the ancestors if that's something that you call out to, which I suggest. There's a kid outside right now that's, that's my soul fat. Like, oh my God, fucking shit. They're so good. Like, they're so fucking good, dude. Because I'm telling you, I heard at first like a wolf sound, but now I feel like it's a cheering sound, like woo, 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 woo. I know y'all hear that. This microphone is pretty good, but that made me feel good. Thank you guys. That made me feel good. Thank you. healing. A lot of people talk about I'm the generational curse breaker. I'm the healer. I'm healing and stuff like that. But man, I'm not commenting on anybody's journey. But I will say on my personal journey, we won't fully. I mean, there's levels to the healing, so I'm not gonna say we won't fully know healing, but you ascended and mastered a certain part of you and a certain level of you when you start accepting that, like, these people hurt you and they don't even want to admit it, or they don't even want to acknowledge it, or they're still going to choose to continuously stay in their pattern and stay in their way, to stay 10 toes down in their beliefs or opinions. And before, I used to allow that to hurt me or put me down or blah blah blah, take me off course. But now I just pull my energy away, dude, and I just remove myself. Like, I don't have no time, no energy, not putting any type of attention into trying to influence, um 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 what is it called? Not influence, but convince. To convince any motherfucker out there, anybody out there, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's too much. No, I got other shit to do. I gotta go take a nap. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a snack. I'm gonna go play with the inner child and go, woo, 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 woo. You know? I love that. My team is good. You'd be surprised. The angels and the ancestors, your spirit team, they'll reach out to you in all sorts of ways. They're pinching my right foot right now, and one of them is through other people, especially the kiddos. So I will say, because I am a guardian of the youth, is, guys, por favor. I know that the kids are the kids, the adults are the adults, and there's some levels to that. But please, por favor, let's work towards not allowing the kids to express themselves. Let's work towards not allowing the kids to be their truest self, because God is always using everybody, anybody, and that includes the children. And a lot of us, we be fumbling our blessings, or we be skipping God's warning signs. Like, if you're a mother or a father, or they and them, and you're in a relationship with somebody, and, like, your kid is, like, not vibing with them, it's not healthy, blah blah blah, God might be telling you something. It's not always the case where the partner is not healthy or whatever, but just anything. If your kid tells you, like, mom, I don't like going to that school or something, like, I just don't feel comfortable, and they don't fully know how to, like, express, like, how they really feel, and the parent is like, no, you gotta go to that school, you gotta go to school, you can't skip out in school, why are you being lazy to go to school? And maybe they may be being bullied, or maybe the teacher has been picking on them, bullying them, not treating them well, or it's something deeper, or it's something as simple like, I don't feel good there, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel safe there, energy wise. And for me personally, I'm gonna listen to my kid on that and walk 10 toes and be like, okay, let's see what's going on, what's the next best step. But moving on to number 3, so we can close out here. um let's see. So I did one personal within myself. I've been washing my hands a lot and they're very dry. So I need to get lotion because it's getting itchy. And I know that's because I'm crying. I feel like I'm getting itchy. That's another thing that I'm going to learn and start teaching us too, is physical health and how it is connected to spiritual health. The skin is actually one of the biggest bodies, or biggest or largest organs, not one of the biggest, the largest organ in our body. Okay, so I did one personally within myself. I did one outside of myself. What's another one? Taboo, unpopular, healing. Healing. Oh, this one again, and this has to do with my mom again. And I know it's all for a reason and purpose. Might watch this video and they might be, hey, why are you talking about your mom like that? Why are you saying those things about your mom? Because they're caught up in their own ways, and they fucking blind, so they can keep doing what they doing and mind their damn business, okay? Because I've already been getting pushback in multiple different things that I've been sharing. But when I was talking on my healing journey, when I started talking a lot publicly on social media about my child molestation and about my incest, my actual mother told me that I was a shame to the family. Please excuse me. I think I've been wanting to get that one out. Let me. My actual mother told me that I was a shame to the family. And I'm saying this is an unpopular um in regards to the healing, because what's unpopular about it, what's taboo about it, behind closed doors about it, is that people would rather, again, stay 10 toes down in their lies, in their choices, actions, behaviors, decisions, ways of living, instead of actually acknowledging it. But my mom fully, straight up told me to my face that I was a shame to the family. And she asked me, how many times are you going to have to talk about all of that? When are you going to get over it? How many times do you have to keep on crying about, she didn't say crying about it, but keep on talking about it? And I told her over and over again, as many times as I need to. I told her over and over again, explained to her that God is using me as a vessel, as a teacher. She never acknowledged it. She never acknowledged it. She never looked me and like, you know what? I understand. I get that. I respect that, but never. That's the spirit of the envy, the spirit of the jealousy, the spirit of, like I be saying, people be hating on you because of the way that other people be loving on you. So because she commented on that, like it seemed like my healing journey was unpopular to them. It wasn't the best thing. I might be mixing things here, but I feel like it all collaborates and it's my testimony, so I'm gonna express it how I want to express it. um 111 with the 6 in balance, we love it. But yeah, she told me that. And I know that she told me that because she didn't want me to talk about it. She didn't want me to express these unpopular conversations because it was going to expose not only herself but the family. And when my mom, please excuse me guys, I was just like, tearing and stuff like that, and it's just what needs to be done. But when my mom told me that, I felt her energy, like the ancestors and like my grandma was like really making her hesitate to say it, because it was very like she knew she shouldn't have said that. Her energy told me she knew she shouldn't have said that. She didn't want to say that. She knew that it was the wrong thing to say, but she still said it. That's what I'm saying. These spirits, um, that is upon a lot of people, a lot of us that we're still working through. I've been doing a lot of work to work through that. Um, I love how we're closing and it's just like all natural, like whatever. Podcast, we're filming, let's lotion up. Nah, I needed to do that. So we're gonna do what we need to do. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Hey baby, what it do, baby boo, looking cute. Ooh. So yeah. That was the last stigma, in regards to my spirituality and my healing journey. Like even, other family members, close to me, they didn't tell me directly like my mom did, but they were indirectly, telling me like these different things or whatnot. So I think we'll pause there, guys. I've exerted a lot of energy, and I didn't expect to cry, but I knew that it was a possibility to come out because we're sharing our testimony, and that's safe and it's okay. 1313, divine feminine is rising, kundalini from the spine. We came here to shine. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Isis, Kuan Yin. Yo, the fact that I just said their name and that song came through. The goddess is rising. The goddess is rising. Angel number 13 is a divine feminine mother number. It's also like a divine mother number, or like, grandmother, divine feminine. It can also, masculines and males can also be feminine BTW. We all have feminine and masculine inside of us. Fun fact that I recently learned as well. All right guys, so that is that for today. Thank y'all for listening all the way through. If y'all are still here, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you for tapping in with me. I do have a few things that I want to share with y'all. As y'all know, I have been traveling throughout the country on my in good faith travel journey, which I'll be expressing more testimonies to come. So tap in for that. But y'all have seen that I've been traveling throughout the country in good faith, meaning in the beginning of the pandemic, Mother God has already been calling me years before I actually took that leap of faith. But in 2022, I finally took that leap of faith to travel across the country. I didn't have a job, 8 to 5, but I was starting my creative practice. I didn't have a vehicle, but I was using public transportation and different ways to get around, and I just didn't know what was going to happen, and it was just something that was new to me, and it was very out of my comfort zone. But here I am on my 11th state, 10 months later. Wait, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Yeah, 11 months later, 11 states later, here I am. I have like a few states left to go, because there's been a few places, a few spots I've redirected to, circled back around to, or added on. But I have a GoFundMe. I know y'all saw it out there. I greatly appreciate you if you guys can support my GoFundMe. My story is there, so please go to my Stand store, which is linked in my Instagram bio. Only for right now. My TikTok, I had to create a second TikTok account, and I'm raising it back to 1,000, which is when you could do the link in bio kind of thing. So it's only on Instagram for right now, and I have a Stand store where all my services, all my community resources and stuff is located. So that's where you can find my GoFundMe. My goal is $10,000. This is a specific goal that Mother God guided me to do. Everything was guided by Mother God and the ancestors, and I'm having confidence in that. But the goal is $10,000. My intention is to put half of it towards my traveling journey, and the other half towards some other things in regards to housing. So that's there. I would greatly appreciate anybody's donations, and if you guys can support by sharing, I greatly appreciate you sharing. I am looking for 2 or more people who want to gather together, biblical reference, to gather together and to put something together. I want you to know that it's been the small donations you guys have been sharing with me that have been adding up. It's been the $5, the $10, the $20, the $30 that 5, 10, 15 people send to me that add up to help me get by. So there's no amount that's too small. And I greatly appreciate you, especially in times of today where the economy is changing, the finances are shifting, and it's just rough times after the pandemic and adjusting again. So I greatly appreciate y'all sharing your, hard earned energy, money with myself. um I reciprocate that back by offering you, by creating, dude, by just being me and sharing this out there. I'm not saying you guys have to, pay my GoFundMe for this work I'm doing, the content I'm creating. I'm still going to create it, but closed mouths don't get fed, and I am learning to be confident in the things that I need, and asking that, and also not taking all those burdens and worries and responsibilities on myself. Okay, so that's there, it's available. I'll also link it in this description as well. Also, if you guys are watching and you guys are on TikTok, which I know y'all fools on TikTok don't play with me, I do have a goal to get back to 1K followers so that I can go on live stream again. So if y'all can follow my TikTok, which is Tomorrow Medicine Woman, it's also in my Instagram. I'll link everything here. But if y'all are here, y'all probably follow me from Instagram or TikTok. But just in case, with the number 2, Tomorrow Medicine Woman with the number 2, and we could get to 1K followers so I can go back on live, so I could get back to my tarot readings, my podcast, etc. I greatly appreciate you in advance. Also subscribe to the YouTube and share the YouTube with a friend. This is going on the Social Progress Podcast YouTube, and I'll probably also put it on the Tomorrow Medicine Woman YouTube as well. So subscribe to the YouTube if you feel like this is a good energetic investment for you to subscribe and come back to view and stream. And I'm so excited to be doing this. But yeah, the YouTube is there, and also the services, y'all. Please, please, please tap into my services. My Tomorrow Medicine Woman practice. I offer mentorship. I offer energy readings. I offer tarot readings. I also offer the podcast, which brings me to my next step. Obviously, y'all know, if y'all been tapping in with me, that I invite guests onto the podcast as well. So I am going to be putting a post out for for one person to come through and have a conversation, be interviewed with me, or we can interview one another in regards to the spiritual healing journey, and also the stigmas, the unpopular parts of it, the things that we learned about it, etc., etc. So if that's you, hit me up on my Stan Store, sign up. I need to update my podcast Google form or whatnot. But just email me, hit me up, like, hey, I saw your pod, I want to jump on, and we'll do this thing. Um, and yeah, any features, if you guys want to come on and share your testimony and share your story, I am going to be opening up for one in podcast guests per month for now, just because I have different things going on and I want to make sure that I don't burn myself out and overwhelm myself, which I've done before. That's why I'm learning what not to do now. So yeah, for right now, but it'll start opening up. It'll start opening up. Just give me a second. And also, if you guys want to feature my story, feature my experience, hit me up. If you want me to be a speaker in any of your services, in any of your jobs, any of your occupations, any of your businesses, if y'all want to feature my poetry, my spoken word, which amplifies, political awareness, it amplifies healing, spirituality, personal lived experiences, etc., most definitely hit me up, so that way we can support one another. But until next time, I don't know when I'm gonna jump back on again. Just know that I'll be back sharing my spiritual, my healing journey, and my travel journey with y'all, which all collaborates together. Thank y'all for being here again. All right, peace.